Thank you for clicking on this video, and welcome to the Kingdom Within podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the holiday seasons and why you might be feeling depressed or frustrated or have anxieties, and what might help. I got 5 reasons here for us here to talk about. I'm sure there's a lot more, but we're going to go ahead and jump into the first one. Depressed this holiday season. Thank you. It's because maybe you've lost somebody, someone you care for, a family member, a loved one. I want to say, very first thing, that my heart goes out to you. And grief is a process. And I know it's not easy. We'll always have, that want to be with that person. But hopefully we can offer some help. I know that in severe cases, you lost a child or a parent, maybe go and find a support group or seek some professional support, therapy or just a trusted loved one. Just being around people can really help sometimes. Just to know that you're not the only one going through this, that it will be better. And these support groups, they really help out with that. One thing that helped me out was honoring the people that have passed away. I had my best friend pass away, and him and I played music together. And while we were playing music, I just wasn't my best. I just didn't put the effort into it like I thought I should have. So when he passed away, I told myself, when my best friend Jeremy passed away, I told myself I was going to learn the bass guitar at a professional level, where I thought that I could get on stage with a professional band and play in front of millions of people. I wanted to play that good and that confident. And so I learned how to play. And I'd have to say that, it really made me the player that I am now. But it stemmed from him passing away. And when I told people that I played music with Jeremy, I didn't want them to look at my playing and have that be a reflection on him. And that might sound weird, but music was a large part of our friendship and who Jeremy was as a person. So I wanted to honor that. And this might look different for everybody. Maybe the person who passed away wasn't that great of a person. Let's just call it what it is. But we can honor them as well by not falling into those same traps and becoming a better version of us. And trying to just be better people in general. I know there's all kinds of different loss out there for family members and friends and stuff. And like I said before, I can't stress this enough. Find you someone to talk to. Find you someone. There's someone out there that cares. I promise, and it's been there before. Conversations help. Maybe what I said, didn't inspire you, and that's fine. And maybe the next 5 people you talk to, maybe they also understand, but there is someone out there. And like I said, the biggest thing that I could think of, that helped me out was just trying to be a better version of myself. I think of my grandparents looking, down on me in heaven. I want them to see someone that they're proud of. I think we all want that. Anyways, I hope that helped. Another reason you might be feeling depressed this holiday season is because financial struggles. I know that I can relate to this one real heavy. I'm sure a lot of you can too. Not only are you trying to buy gifts for your family and everything, but you're trying to pay for the bills. And Lord forbid something happens. You lose your job. Unexpected costs happen. That sort of thing. Maybe you haven't been the best, financially in the past, and you're having to catch up. And, you're seeing everybody else, and, they seem to be doing just fine. But I tell you, this is a difficult one. Because what's helped me out is just knowing that my needs are going to be met. I have faith that so long as I put forth the effort, that my family is going to have a roof over their head and food in front of them. Maybe the home's not going to look all that great. Maybe the food's not going to be exactly what we want to eat that day, but it's going to be exactly what we need. And it'll get better. It gets better. If you don't like the way your finances look right now, this is your moment. This is your moment to step up to the plate and try to get some more money up. You can be small steps every day. And it doesn't have to be getting a new job or, budgeting more or anything like that. It could just be, instead of just having the one job, maybe you pick up another one. There's a lot of combinations here that can help you out. The most important thing is to not sit idle and not do anything about it. It takes action to get out of these situations, especially if you're in a bad one. And I'd have to say that if you are in a bad situation, again, speak up. There's people out there that will help and that want to help. And yeah, it's going to take some time. We're going to face some rejection, but it's going to be okay. And we're going to get through it. And it may not look all that great right now, but let's put some more effort into it. Put some more focus into it. See where it takes you. I'd be willing to bet you'd be pretty surprised. Another reason you might have holiday blues is because you're feeling lost or disconnected. Like you had a flame and it just kind of burnt out. Now you just have embers. Like things you once found joy in, you're just no longer interested in. And guys, this is natural to feel through life. There's plenty of times where I know that I have felt like this, like what's the point and everything? It's just the same grind, day in, day out. And, I have to tell you, what helped me was just rekindling those old flames. Those who know me well know that I love playing music. So just picking up an instrument every once in a while would help me. And just messing around with it and just kind of rekindling that love and joy I had for it. Find something new to learn about it, or to learn about even. It didn't have to be music, it's just something to learn about, new to learn about. There's so many wonders out there in the world, and there's so much to experience. My best advice, if you're feeling this way, if you're feeling lost and disconnected and everything, I would say maybe it's time for you to go out and try something new, or rekindle an old flame. And I don't mean go out and find your ex-girlfriend, okay? I mean, find your old interest, collecting stamps, or, something like that. Maybe it's something a little bit more interesting. Anyway, but yeah, it's a process, it's a process sometimes we have to lose things to figure out what it is that we really want, or if it was really meant for us or not. Another reason they might be feeling a little frustrated this time of year is just because it's busy. You feel rushed. There's so much work to be done at the end of the year. Those of you guys that run a business, or maybe you're a manager somewhere or something like that, it's time for inventory, and people are calling out sick, and you're having to do 4 or 5 jobs at once, and then go shopping afterwards, and then your old friends from college want to come in and have some drinks, and it's just a whole big mess. And you've already spent all your energy. You just feel irritated that you even have to deal with any of this. This time of year is notorious for that. And depending on who you are and what you got going on, I think we could take a look back at ourselves and just think about it for a second. We've made it through this before. We've done this before. So if we can prepare ourselves for it a little bit in advance, take some time for yourself, and know that nothing's ever done alone. You're always going to have people around you that's going to help you out and what have you. We're much better when we work as a team and respect one another and are grateful for the help and everything that they've put in. Um, I mean, it's such a valuable thing to have a community around you. Um, and just taking a deep breath, taking some time for yourself, get some good sleep, all that good stuff. Make sure you're staying hydrated, make sure you eat, all that other good stuff. I mean, there's 1,000 great tips out there for you with this kind of thing, but it's up to you to actually take that time and make those decisions. And know that it's one step at a time. Some days are going to be harder than others. Some days are going to be busier than others. Do what you can when you can. And be thankful that we can do anything at all. There's so many other people out there that would love to be doing what you're doing. So, and there's people out there that depend on you to do a good job. And we can't do that when we're frustrated. We can't do that when we're rushing around and trying to be Superman. Things don't always look perfect or the way that we think that they should. But it's the effort that we put in. And we know that we can improve. But seriously, just take some time and breathe. The last thing I wanted to talk about today, I thought that might give people some anxiety and some frustration, specifically, is rude people this time of year. Seems like everywhere they go, there's a Grinch somewhere. There's someone acting out, their frustration, acting out of their emotions, just yelling and screaming at the top of their lungs how they're feeling. And, the rest of us are just trying to get through Walmart. We're just trying to get through our day. And they're just adding resistance to it and making it harder for the rest of us. And I get that. I felt that. I think we've all felt that before. And encountered people like that. But I have to say, the very first thing is watch yourself. We could easily fall into that trap to where we're that person acting out of our frustration and our anger. Maybe you don't do it out in public. Maybe you do it to your family. Maybe not even that, but maybe it's just in your head. Maybe you're just frustrated. And we don't work our best when we're frustrated. It's scientific. I don't have to go into any kind of spiritual, nothing. It is scientific. When we're feeling frustrated, or we're around people that are frustrated, it puts a snag in things. We don't work our best. We don't think our best. So when we see someone out there and they're acting out of sorts, if it's rather it be in your family or out in public or whatever it is. The best thing to do is know that we can't change them. And that it's best if we lead by example and try to do the best that we can moving forward. Don't let their frustration bring out yours. And if you have frustration, the biggest thing I could say is that we need to make sure that we're not acting out of that frustration. We need to let that pass, and those parts of us, it'll heal after a while. Once we start looking at the good that people are doing, we see a lot more of that. When you look at the kindness in people, you're going to see a lot more of it. When you start looking at the love people have, you're going to see a lot more of that. It's going to be easy to see the person screaming in the middle of a shopping mall. But that person enjoying their family and enjoying the people around them, has that big smile on their face. Maybe they don't have much. They're not wearing the best of clothes and stuff, but they're just happy to be there and just happy to be in the moment. That's the kind of thing that we strive for. I think we can all kind of agree with that a little bit. Nobody wants to feel frustration and things like that. And I know it's a little bit different when we talk about family. We love our family. We want the best for them. And sometimes they don't always act the way that we think that they should. And we try and help them. We've done as much as we can for them. But there always comes a point where that person has to step up for themselves and make a conscious decision to do better, whatever that may mean. And I do want to say this too. And I want to think that this would be something that everybody would kind of do. But I just want to say, if you see someone out there acting out of sorts and you think they're going to harm somebody, speak up and say something to somebody. If you think it's something serious, go ahead and talk to the authorities. Go ahead and make that phone call. You might be saving a life. You don't know. Just don't keep quiet about it. And especially if it's someone in your family. If you think that someone in your family or someone outside your family, doesn't matter, is causing some sort of harm to somebody, speak up and say something. Maybe it doesn't do any good, but most of the time it does. And it's always the first steps. And if you know, you know. I'm not saying that every time you have a suspicion about somebody, say something. But you know what I'm talking about. You know, the people I'm talking about. So I'm just going to leave it there at that. Thank you for watching this video. I hope that something that I said helps you in your journey this holiday season. I hope something that I said resonated with you and connected with you, and that it helped you. Because that's really the point of me making this. And guys, thank you for support. Thank you for everything. I believe that everybody listening at this point in the video, for sure, you're just as big a part of this, if not the biggest part of this channel, than even I am. You're the reason it exists. And I'm only but a little vessel. And my aim is to help enrich our shared reality. If you know somebody that might need to hear something I said today, please give them a share. Send it to them. This isn't about money. This isn't about likes. This isn't about how many people share. It's about how many people it might help or inspire or whatever. And I just want to say thank you again for everything. This has been the Kingdom Within podcast. And I'm David Forshee. And I hope you'll join me again in the next one. Till next time.